I would like to thank you and welcome you to African Liberation Day. The Union today will bring a message particularly to our sisters. To begin, sisters, we must first view ourselves as Africans. We are Africans, period. The All-African People's Revolutionary Party believe that all people of African descent and ancestry, regardless wherever they were born or live, can contribute to the liberation and freedom of all African people. Most of the confusion that we face today as a people comes from not understanding who we are. We call ourselves African American in the U.S. We call ourselves French in France. We call ourselves West Indian in the Caribbean. This confusion resulted from being disconnected from our land-based Africa. For 500 years, Africa and her people have been exploited by capitalist and imperialist forces. Capitalism was built on the exploitation of African slavery and colonialism. Slavery, where they took us from the land, and colonialism, where they physically took over the land. These Western European powers, the capitalists, used Africa's minerals, agricultural resources, and labor, women and men, to grow rich. This left Africa, the richest continent in the world, unable to feed, give adequate housing, medical care to the masses of our people. The majority of our people cannot read. There is a lack of productive employment, and our children are dying from preventative diseases. African women are at the bottom of this scale. Under capitalism, African women face triple oppression. As Africans, we endure daily racism and national oppression, exploitation of African land and resources. Our children are being shot, lynched, and molested daily. African women worldwide work long hours in low-paid jobs. 2/3 of African households are headed by African women, 1/2 of which in poverty. Our children cannot walk the streets in safety without the fear of being shot, raped, or just harassed by the police. Education, health, and social services continue to be cut back to increase capitalist profits. 73% of African women are peasants. 25% are urban workers in industry, marketplace, or domestic. The majority of African women work 16 hours a day, do 60 to 70% of the agricultural work, 50% of the animal husbandry work, 100% of the food processing. Presently, 85% of our sisters are illiterate. African women have the highest death rate in a childbirth and infant mortality rate in the world. 50% of our children die before they reach the age of 5. In industrial countries in Africa, African women make 60 cents to an African male dollar. In areas of the Caribbean, we are paid $3 to $25 a month for 10 to 12 hours a day doing domestic work. In addition, African women suffer oppression because of our gender, because we are female. Unfortunately, many African men uphold the capitalist thinking that women are inferior to them, rather than seeing African women as powerful partners in the struggle to destroy capitalism. The struggle for the development of African women is for the benefit of all of our people. As women, we are portrayed by capitalism as simply victims of African men and traditional customs, with very little knowledge of what our oppression is. We must step forward and begin to tell our own story. A story that will show that at one time African women had legal and social equality. A story that will show that African women played a central role in agriculture. And it has been reported by some of our African scholars that African women may have discovered agriculture. Our story will show that African women sat on the Council of Elders as Queen Mothers with the right to overrule the council when she felt their decisions were not in the interest of society. She would also be able to choose new king or chief. African women everywhere serve on the front line of the struggle. They served in every national resistance struggle in Africa, up to 30% in armed struggle in Eritrea and Zimbabwe. Sisters led anti-tax and anti-pass demonstrations against the brutal colonial and settled colonial regimes in Nigeria, Mali, and South Africa. On August 9, 1956, 20,000 women organized from all over Azania, South Africa, and marched on the Union Building in Pretoria to deliver a petition to the head of the illegal white minority regime. They marched in opposition to the notorious apartheid caste law, designed to control and monitor the movement of African people on their own land. As the women marched, they sang a song, which struck fear into the hearts of their oppressors. Now you have touched the woman, you have struck a rock. You have dislodged a boulder. You will be crushed. Sisters throughout history demonstrated their bravery, spirit of self-sacrifice, and dedication in striking deadly blows at all forces that oppressed them. Sisters like Nana of the Maroons, who organized a decade-long guerrilla struggle against the British slavery in Jamaica, forcing them to accept the liberty of African people. Harriet Tubman, another powerful African woman, smuggled hundreds of Africans out of slavery through the Underground Railroad, winning the title of Moses of her people. Within Africa, Sisters Nahanta, a prophetess, launched the 1896 Shimaranga, which means uprising, against British settlers in Zimbabwe. Ya Asadua organized and led the people in Ghana. During the 60s, sisters led civil rights movement and the Black Power movement. Sisters like Ella Baker, who through the NAACP fought apartheid, lynchings, and terrorist organizations like the Ku Klux Klan and the White Knights. Miss Baker worked with Sister Rosa Parks, who represented all African people when she refused to give a European her seat on the bus. Miss Baker organized fundraisers to help support the resulting bus boycott. She also supported the independence of the student movement and gave direction to the students in the founding of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. Within the Black Power movement, we have examples such as Assata Shakur of the Black Panther Party, who was convicted of being an accomplice to a murder of a white New Jersey state trooper, and she herself took 2 bullets. She was sentenced to life imprisonment plus 30 years for not standing up for the judge. She also masterminded her own escape from the prison. Sandra Pratt, a hard-working member of the Black Panther Party, gave her life in the life of her unborn child. She was killed by the capitalist police while pregnant and then thrown in a garbage dump. Sisters, we have a very long and courageous story. We must continue the struggle that has been raised by those who came before us. The All-African People's Revolutionary Party and the All-African Women's Revolutionary Union understand that the struggle to be waged is the struggle for Pan-Africanism, the total liberation and unification of Africa under scientific socialism. We understand that this is the achievement of Pan-Africanism that will destroy imperialism and neocolonialism. Neocolonialism are puppets throughout Africa, throughout the African world, who act as overseers for the imperialist financial and military interests, and perceive Western values and cultures as superior to Africans. In other words, they are Uncle Tom. Only Pan-Africanism will restore African women their true humanity. It will remove the oppression and exploitation that we face on a daily basis. When the problems of African women and the African community are discussed, the root cause of those problems are often laid at the feet of African men. But at the same time in the industrial world, capitalism blames African women for bringing down the African family. We are both scapegoats of an exploited system. My sisters, we must refuse, no matter how tempting it is, to engage in antagonistic relationships and struggles with African men, because their oppressor is also the same oppressor of women. This does not mean that we will not address the negative tendencies amongst our brothers. We will address them, while at the same time launching an organized attack against the common enemy of African women and men. As African women, we should not become embroiled in the feminist movement, which tells us that our priority is womanhood liberation, not African liberation. Our enemy is not our brother. The feminist movement must be seen for what it is. It is a reformist movement, not a revolutionary movement. The feminist movement is a European middle-class women's movement that has benefited only a handful of even European women who are now holding high-profile positions within the capitalist society. The feminist movement is not designed for revolutionary change. They are not discussing who owns and controls the land, because they benefit from it. As a reformist movement, it does not attack the primary problem of capitalism, but symptoms of the problem. Revolutionaries understand the root cause of the problem, capitalism, and calls for its total destruction. As stated earlier, capitalism, imperialism, colonialism, and neocolonialism are systems that have stripped us of our land, culture, and identity. Capitalism did this for the benefit of their own economic gain, without any regard or consequence of the development of Africa or her people. It takes for its own opportunistic gain and gives nothing in return. Capitalism also has principles. One of these principles is individualism, which results in negative attitudes. These negative attitudes are one feeling superior over another. That is a very negative attitude, which means one's inferior. That negative attitude can result in anything but negative action. One of the negative actions can be the abuse that we suffer as a people, that we inflict on each other as a people. When someone hits, bullies, or belittles someone, they need to create a framework by which they make that behavior seem reasonable. Their emotional well-being depends on it. The degree of injury is not always physical. Abuse is also the result of someone acting out of their sense of privilege over another, the power, the control. It is a way of keeping us under control and in our place, even as a people. Capitalism does this as a people. They abuse us every day, but we turn around and we abuse each other. This all results in psychological abuse. And these psychological abuse are ways that hurt someone's self-esteem or potential by control, coercion, intimidation, manipulation, and threat. We cannot develop with these attitudes among us. The All-African Women's Revolutionary Union is calling for a social revolution, the redemption of our African society, the redemption of our morals and ethics, through the restoration of positive aspects of our traditional values, humanism, collectivism, and egalitarianism. These traditional African principles are based on our ideology in pluralism, Torahism. Ideology has been mentioned several times today. I'd like to give a definition. By ideology, we mean a group or a set of principles formed collectively by a particular group of people, such as Africans. These guidelines establish what is correct behavior and what is incorrect behavior within society. It is a method for analyzing current and past development in nature and society. It is an objective idea which solely should strive for. We would also like to just state 3 of the principles in which we would like for us to try and practice. Humanism means that people should be treated as humans with dignity and respect, and that each must be treated as an end in themselves, not just a tool or a means to an end. This means we should not use each other for our own individual gain. Collectivism means working together, the collective skill and knowledge of all to reach a common goal. Everyone's contribution will have a value and should have a value. Egalitarianism means the equality of all people. This implies that all people should have equal rights inside of a society. It does not mean that all women and men are created equal, with equal physical and mental capabilities, nor does it mean the absence of differences among us. Egalitarianism means the equal opportunity to contribute to the collective, an equal opportunity to develop our human capabilities and capacities. Sisters, this will not be easy. We must prepare ourselves with intense struggle and action. We must become organized. The All-African People's Revolutionary Party urges everyone to please join an organization working on behalf of our people. We invite you to join the All-African People's Revolutionary Party. All sisters who join are automatically members of the All-African Women's Revolutionary Union. The All-African Women's Revolutionary Union was formed in 1980. It was organized primarily for 3
Roger, and about the positive rap. And 9 and 7 is where it's at. Check boogie down production and flip begin to meet. The rapping to the beat, this sets my lines free. We need to learn how to beat. Sisters and brothers, love, care, for respect one another. This is the truth. The truth is a light, so now you see the truth. It's time to get up and fight. You gotta fight for truth. Fight for justice. Let the knuckleheads know that they can't crush us, cause we're mighty and we're strong. See if they jump funny, they think they jump wrong, cause I'm kicking it. I'm kicking it. Let me see some hands up in the air, y'all. Come on, bounce with me, folks. Come on, y'all, bounce with me. Come on, y'all. Let's get with this. Some people say rap teaches violence. What they really want is silence. So all your rap groups and rap that junk, come on, y'all. Don't hype the bump. We gotta push the positive, affirm the affirmative. We got to move ahead, but instead your brain is dead, and I dread the beat that you have to answer for your deeds. Are you just a dancer? Kicking it live. Kicking it live. I'm 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 kicking it live. You better stay in school. You don't wanna go up to be nobody's fool. So open up them books and study real hard. Get your knowledge if you wanna go far. And don't get involved with no negative stuff. I mean, just leave the stuff alone, cause it's just too rough. It kills your spirit, it steals your fire. The next thing you know, you done lost your desire to make things better, to move ahead. You might even wish that you was there, but keep kicking it live. I'm 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 Shabaka on the microphone. I got the beat that's bad to the bone. So come on, y'all, it's time to get with this. Can't you see I'm all about business? I rock it to the left, I rock it to the right. I rock it, cause it's right. I rock it to the left, I rock it to the right. I rock it, cause it's right. But keep kicking it live. I'm kicking it live. Let me see some hands in the air, y'all. Oh yeah, we kicking it for the revolution, y'all. Come on, y'all. Africans, are y'all with me? We go word about the positive rap. And 9-7 is where it's at. Who's like Boogie Down Production and Public Enemy. The rapping to the beat to set your mind free. We need to learn how to beat. Sisters and brothers, love, care, form, respect one another. This is the truth. The truth is the light, and now you see the truth. It's time to stand up and fight. You gotta fight for truth. Fight for justice. Let the knuckleheads know they can't crush us, cause we're mighty and we're strong. See if they jump funny, they think they jump wrong, cause I'm kicking it live. 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 Kicking it live. Oh yeah, we must use our talents to uplift the consciousness of our people. And that's what this is all about. So it's time to kick it live, y'all. We got to kick it live, y'all. It's time to kick it live, y'all. I remind you that we have a party at the Peppermint Lounge later on this evening. The Peppermint Lounge up in Lincoln Heights, Ohio. I'll be the DJ tonight, so I want y'all to come on out and check it out. And we ain't doing nothing but fight for liberation. That's what it's all about. The liberation. A liberation. A liberation. A liberation is what we're fighting for. Even if it means you got to kick down the door, cause ain't nobody gonna give it to us. So we need to get organized instead of just fussing. Stop walking around like you're defeated. Wake up to the obligation you must meet. You keep moving ahead, don't you dare retreat. Cause it's about time we took over the driver's seat. Cause liberation is what we want. A liberation is what we need. A liberation is what we want. A liberation is what we need. A liberation is what we want. A liberation is what we need. A liberation is what we want. A liberation is what we need. A liberation is more than a thought. It ain't something that can be bought. You can't win it on the throw of the dice. You got no choice. You gotta get organized. United we stand. Divided we fall. We got to get together, y'all. United we stand. Divided we fall. Be a true sister woman. A brother man. Cause It's what we want, a liberation. Let me hear y'all. It's what we need, liberation. It's what we want, a liberation. It's what we need. Let me hear y'all now. It's what we want, a liberation. It's what we need, a liberation. It's what we want, a liberation. It's what we need, a liberation.